Welcome back to Oneself. My name is Stephen Maher. With me today, with me always, is Adam Bartleman. Adam, thank you so much for joining me today, my friend.
Thanks for having me as always, Stephen. Excuse my voice. I'm just releasing some energy through a little virus, a little cold I've got here.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. I hope you get better. I won't make you talk too hard. Hopefully. But today, folks, today what we're talking about is friendship and especially the nuances of friendship. And the seasons of life, the friendships you might have had as a child, and how that changes as life goes on, and especially in middle life, which I would consider that to be where Adam and I find ourselves. If people have families, that's kind of one path. You're not going down that route. It's the things that kind of bring you together and your schedules and your lifestyle, right? Like just your lifestyle choices can really dictate the people that are in your life. And especially as there's this awareness to this healing stuff that we're trying to work on, right? Like this, again, the self love, trying to analyze ourselves, trying to, discern our path, what's best for ourselves, because everybody's individual path is different. A tough part of that is the people you surround yourself with. And that's especially true if you are trying to build anything. Adam, from my personal experience as a musician, dude, like it's so hard. It's like dating. It's so hard to find, a creative partner that is talented, but like also you want to be friends with, but like is also a good business partner because like there's a business element to
Mm,
like doing gigs and like money's involved. And so it's like, it's really, really hard, man, to like hit all those in somebody and like also has like a work ethic, to be honest, like is also willing to like, rehearse a lot and gig a lot and like, just to be good, right? Like, to like, to show out for those appearances with pride. And that's a big time commitment as well. Like I totally get it. Like people have lives outside of the music, right? But that's just an example of like, how hard it was in my own personal experience to, you know, surround myself with people that I'm aligned with. And on this like growth aspect too, it's like um, sometimes you grow apart and that's okay. It's like it's not like there's animosity towards people that maybe have been in my life in the past or in seasons in high school or college, and then everyone moves
yeah,
across the world or the country, and it's like, well, it's just geography is a big is a big hurdle to bypass when it comes to friendship. But yeah, man, I just think it's a big topic and it's important and it's pretty universal where the people in your life change just based on where you're at and where your goals are, and how complicated that can be, and how much that impacts us, man. And I know, like me, you probably have some experiences of your own, but yeah, man, that's just kind of what I want us to jump off on today, and discuss this aspect of friendship, especially considering I see that in you, man, like our friendship, right? Where
indeed.
there's this shared connection and you want to build with me, right? Like you want to build this thing with me, and like it's like I love that. Like I love to build things and like the dedication to it. It's like I couldn't do this with everybody, brother. Like it's like I've tried, and to like build things
Yeah,
with people in the past, and just so again, just like a kudos to shout out to you. It's just like it takes alignment, right, for those people, for the friendship to truly flourish, and oftentimes the circumstances of life bar that from happening.
yeah, yeah, man. It's an interesting one, and as we had mentioned before, with like the direction or the sort of the why for our creative project here is like giving advice to our younger selves. We're really just talking to our younger selves here, and the conversation around friendship and alignment is like, yeah, man, it's a powerful one because I feel like I really could have used some advice on this when I was younger, and just some guidance whatsoever, which some form of guidance in any form, I should say, and just not something that I received. And And, yeah, it's been and it was a bumpy road at times, and then it's also, like, it's an ongoing road too, like, it's not just stuff from the past, like, I still as you said, like, life circumstances change, and I'm still observing that, like, I have this one friend who's now, like, my oldest friend, and, you know, amazing guy. It was really, kinda patiently stood there and, like, kinda being there while I've gone through all of my growth, which was, like, some, you know, pretty toxic behavior at times, and, uh, someone who's shown me patience that like, didn't even show myself, and, just kinda always been there, and, like, we don't align on, like, many things, but there are a few things that we align on, humor in particular, and it's just been cool, you know, like, I've known him since I was 7, I'm 38 now. And he's doing a totally different kind of life, from me, you know, like he's got a kid, he's married, he's got a kid, he's got a 9 to 5 job, and that's like, you know, polar opposite for me, but like it's cool how we can still come together and relate, and how those it was like a process of like recognizing which friendships are worth holding on to even when some of the service level stuff doesn't align at all. And then, like, sometimes when the service level stuff does align, there are the deeper and more intuitive, considerations to make, like the red flags that can't be ignored, where it's like, even if this does make sense on paper to be friends with this person, like, I don't want to be friends with them, um, you know, everything in between. And it's been an interesting journey so far, and I'm excited for it to continue, and like you said, yeah, like our friendship, very unique, very unique. I don't think I've ever really like worked on a creative project with anyone like that. So it's been cool to have that as an element of our friendship, as well as like just the other many things that we relate on and like our differences. And it's cool. It's exciting. It's like one of those things like the little glimmers of life, the interesting experiences that we get to have, and the interesting people that we get to meet along the way, and sometimes, you know, just come right out of left field, you know, like, you know, we met in, Central America, you know, a couple of years ago, and from different countries, and, yeah, you know, have a lot in common and get to relate and now work on this together. It's cool.
Yeah, man. I've had people say to me too where it's like, "Oh, like, you've changed a lot." And
Yeah,
it's like, I fucking hope so, you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like or like, "You're the same, but you've changed so much," or like, some iteration of that. And I'm like, for me, that's kind of the point. Like, I hope I'm changing and getting better and
mhm,
especially when it comes to, like, friendships too, man, it's like, I am so much of the mind where it's quality versus quantity as well, when I was younger, I gave my time to a lot of people that, older me would be like, "Why are you hanging around them?" You know,
yeah,
and
yeah,
now it's not that there's, again, anything against those people or whatever, but it's just like, I know from my path and from my goals, like, it was like that wasn't the right group, you know? And so, yeah, man, yeah, friendship's tricky now for me because it's like, number 1, again, like, I love the building, right? Like, it's like, whether it's music or otherwise, like, it's like I like to be working on cool stuff or, with people, but at the same time, it's like alignment in values as well. Like, it's like especially when it comes to doing anything with people, it's like, can you like trust, right? It's like trust is at the bottom of that
yeah,
relationship. Like, can you truly trust them, especially when money's involved? It's like if you see a partner or like a business partner, like a friend you're working on something with, like if he's cheating on his wife, it's like, I've talked about this in the past, but it's like, who's to say he's
yeah,
not, like stealing money
yeah,
from you, man? Like, if that's his integrity, if that's his moral
yeah,
character, um, that can affect you as well. And so it's yeah, man, it's just like again, like a keen observer of behavior and just
yeah,
recognizing the fact that you know, we might have shared time in the past and it's tough, man, because it's tough because it's like, again, we said, like, loyalty comes into mind, and I think loyalty is, like, such a great attribute to have in people, but when can you step back and
yeah,
protect your life too and protect your interests too? Because, like, you are who you surround yourself with, right? And if you're trying to build
Yeah.
something and, yeah, guys, friends is, yeah, getting fucked up in the bar and, maybe it's like you're not drinking anymore. It's like, all right, like, what's best for me
Mhm.
here? It's like, it's like if, he wants to go play basketball or something, it's like, that's where I'll hang out. But it's like I'm not going to the bar with you too or like something, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And ultimately, yeah, just having a look at those, whatever, idea like loyalty, like looking at how it's being held on to, just making sure that loyalty to oneself is first and foremost. Understanding that integrity comes with being like a whole and complete being. That's how we can act in integrity in our other relationships by first being, being integrous, being in integrity with ourselves. um, excuse me. But yeah, man, it's an interesting one because yeah, loyalty, that I mean, just going a little further with that, like, I had been sharing an example, before we hopped on, just exactly that, where I was like, kind of like the bar example, as you said, like, I was kind of a little bit rough and tumble, kind of dysregulated young man, and get into trouble, in my, like, late teens, early 20s. And then, having a friend that, later on, I'm like, 25 years old at this point and like hanging out with a friend who it's like, oh, we're getting kicked out of the bar. Like, I'm 25 now. This isn't funny anymore. Like maybe it was when I was 19. Um, and yeah, and recognizing that it's like that just sometimes it's not, yeah, and it's not like one is right and one is wrong. It's just this doesn't align anymore. And yeah, a lot of it actually did center around quitting drinking, for me, was, like, that shifted a lot of friendships, especially in the, um in the old profession that I was in and then, and also just childhood friends because that was a big activity. That was a big social activity, was going out drinking, and, um and recognizing that, like, that wasn't working for me anymore, had a lot of people saying essentially that, like, "You've changed," and I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely, I've changed." And, in some cases, it was like, "Why are you so happy now?" And and, for those people who really wanted to know, then, would share, but, like, for other people, it was like, kinda like, "Why are you so happy now?" And then, like, this, like, lack of trust, for those people still stuck in those behaviors, still choosing those behaviors, I should say. So yeah, it got interesting and those things shifted, but like for for those who are not choosing a path of like of change and growth, it's like yeah, you might kind of remain stuck in the same behaviors, hanging with the same exact people. Not that there's anything wrong with that necessarily, but if it's like if it's like across the board, I mean, it might be cause for concern. Just have a look and see like am I am I growing enough? Like, am I where I want to be at? And yeah, because if we're not, like, just remaining stuck in those patterns and behaving the same as we did in like first year college, and getting into our 40s and 50s, it's like maybe there's an opportunity here. Maybe there's an opportunity to shake things up.
Yeah. I think too, it's like you said, like, and I think, I just entered my 30s, right? Like you've been in your 30s. I think that's really like an age when that it's really noticeable, right? Where like the divide kind of widens. Um, whether it's like if it's same old, and it's like that's okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like like if I had family members that I've seen pass that have like, same old till they got old, you know?
Yeah,
And and I'm not saying that's like there's judgment there, but I'm like I recognize that's a lot of people's journeys. But I think for the people that again, yeah, trying to, heal generational shit, heal themselves, right? Regulate nervous system, like all that stuff. Um, trying to, yeah, be the best versions of themselves they possibly can be. It's like you notice the divide widening. And it's not like I'm not saying that as like, again, I have all the answers or I'm perfect. It's like absolutely not. But again, it's like what I go
Yeah.
back to is just like the effort of trying, just the
Yeah.
act of trying. And a lot of people, yeah, it's just like, it's same old is the day to day, and that's fine. But trying to reconcile that, man, like, again, like I said, like, the loyalty and, wanting to honor the past, but also, staying having a foot in the present and being in the present moment and looking towards the
Yeah.
future as well, and, like, what's the life I wanna build? And it's like, who are the people that can wanna build cool things with me too, or, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's like, whether that's your significant other and the friendships or, the business partners, like, I think all of that's super relevant. But,
Yeah,
um
man.
it's tough, man. It's tough because yeah, like it's not like that friendship is like meaningless to me. Like it did matter. It's like no, it's just like I'm just in a different place, and
Yeah.
that's okay. I like such is life, right? It's really
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and ultimately it all comes back to, like, self-love and just knowing that you're doing your best in every moment, and, right, like, we can only ever be, half of the equation for a relationship, for, interpersonal relationship. No. And, yeah, so if it's causing any sort of, like, discord within yourself, it's just, like, looking at where the attachment lies. As I was, sharing that example before, a couple times I've cut out, or cut out, just kind of drifted away from some friends, um, and felt kinda guilty about it afterward, but then I was like, "You know what? They were 50% of it too," and, like, I was just growing and I was going on my natural, change of direction at that point, and that's not where they were going. It's just a natural occurrence. Like, these paths are simply diverging, and that's okay. We get, maybe a little bit of programming on, like, toxic loyalty, just like everything in our society is kind of inverted to a point where the idea of loyalty can then end up, when adhered to from a place of, like, unhealthy attachment, can really result in just creating suffering because it's, an idea that is not supportive to the well-being of the individual holding it. But yeah, just recognizing that, like, it's always 50%. Like, whatever we're doing, if it's best for us, it's gonna be best for the other person too, which that can be kind of a tough one to wrap our minds around because sometimes, someone will, like, somebody's sitting there like, "What, you never call anymore, man?" And it's like, yeah, I'm protecting my energy, man. Like, I gotta do what's best for me, and that actually does, if even if the ego doesn't recognize it immediately, that will end up being what's best for the other person, because if we're considering things from the perspective of oneness, everything is working together in perfect harmony. So, even if the ego disagrees as we're moving away from someone, that's because not only were they not meant to be in our lives anymore, but we weren't meant to be in their lives anymore, and, like, that is, as far as I can see, like, always gonna be accurate, and the right thing to do, essentially. And, it's kinda cool because it doesn't have to be, like, again, just always looking at how the mind wants to attach to things and, like, put things into categories. Like, we have to, like, I'll use myself for an example, like, you living, like, a pretty alternative lifestyle, like, okay, does that mean I can't be friends with the people who are living more of, like, a conventional lifestyle? And again, going back to that example, of my friend that I shared, who's like, he's doing the more regular kind of thing, right? Like the 9 to 5, wife and kid, and absolutely, like, I that's a person that I believe I'll have in my life, my whole life, because while he's doing things like kind of on the surface level a little more ordinary, like, underneath, he's not. Like, he's an interesting guy. Like, he does things a little differently, in terms of running his business. He's like a real thinker. He's committed to, like, taking care of himself, and, like, these are things that we can relate on because, to loop in another point here, which, for those of us who are kinda living an alternative lifestyle, something that I noticed, as you're mentioning, getting into your 30s, like, and this is something that actually this friend that I'm mentioning, and I have discussed many times over the years, even since we were like teenagers, we talk about this. It seems like most men kind of give up around age 30. Like we'd like could see that, observe that in family and friends. Most men just will kind of like hang up the gloves at about 30. They just like,
Yeah.
they just start eating garbage, start like stop working out, stop, taking care of themselves. And we would always kind of laugh about that and be like, man, that's not going to be us. Like when we were talking about that when we were quite young, and like, and and it has, we've proven it true. Like, this friend of mine, he's a year older than me. And, he's in great shape. His mind is sharp. He's always reading. He's always learning new things, and like, and we could observe the other friends that we had that totally did follow that script. That around 28, 29, 30, they like just fully gave up, and they I shouldn't say fully gave up, but they largely gave up and just like got out of shape, and they look old and they look tired, we were talking about this, like, so supposedly testosterone starts to decrease after 30. And I'm like, yeah, that's based on sample populations, though. That's based on a culture and a society that gives up. Like, I think you can be an invigorated and healthy man until you into your 80s, like, and like your back in shape guy up on the trail. Was it John?
Yep. John just getting back in
Yeah.
shape, brother.
Yeah, just get back in shape.
In his 80s
And
saying that. I was like, "I love
yeah.
that." Like, you're my hero saying that in your 80s. I'm just trying to get back in shape, man, you know? What a
Yeah.
legend.
Uh, yeah. Like, so anyway, yeah, it's like there's, uh, even if we're living like pretty divergent lifestyles, there is a potential for still keeping connected. And even if you're living like more convergent lifestyles, there's potential for not aligning still on like deeper layers. It's like it is very nuanced. But sometimes like the real challenge comes in just like letting people go again, because we feel bad. We feel that sense of loyalty. And and again, it's nuance. It's never black and white. Sometimes that loyalty is good. As I'm mentioning, this friend I keep using as my case study here is like, as I said before, I think like if I were in his position, I would have dropped me several times, several times over. But he didn't, and he was like always like just a patient and loving friend. And I'm glad that he did hang in there, because I'd like to think I really eventually like earned that, and it paid off and it turned around, and I'm not such a dysregulated toxic person anymore. At least I think. So it's this funny thing. It's like it's constantly getting into the constantly working on ourselves, and like always refining that intuition and that discernment to understand, like, to understand the lens through which we're looking at life, to be as we often say, the most keen observers of our greatest teacher, which is life itself. Here, as a friend of mine used to say, um, because yeah, it's like, what else are we doing here? We're just here trying to get back in shape.
Yeah, man. I know. It's because it's such a beautiful thing, right? Like, I think, like, friendship is just it's such a beautiful thing. And yeah, like, I have friends on completely different paths, you know what I mean? But they look at me and they're like, it's so funny because it's like, there's things I admire in them where they're living a life like that, like you said. But he's like, oh, but he's sharp and he's like still takes care of himself, and it's like very similar. I resonate with that, and like my friends doing like more traditional lifestyle, and then they see me and they're like, oh, bro, like I've always just admired that about you, like you just fucking go do it, and it's like,
Mm,
so it's like, it's like that real recognized real, like even while you're living this like totally like on
mm,
paper, just such a different life from each other. But like
yeah,
the love is still there,
yeah,
and you mentioned this too, brother, too, where it's like, it's a two-way street, man, as well. And it's like the friends that are doing their part to, like, keep up the relationship, it's like, "Oh, of course." Like, I will, check in, or if I'm in the same area, like, like, seek them out or grab lunch or whatever. It's like, yeah, like, if I'm if you try a couple times and then it's like it falls on deaf ears, it's like, well, there's no animosity there as well, but it's like, if the
Yeah,
communication
yeah,
just falls off, or sometimes, I could go years without talking and, pick up with someone again. I'm like, it's all right. Like, it doesn't even matter if the communication, but it's like, there's no animosity on my end where it's like, oh, like, you didn't text me back or whatever. It's like, I get life just gets in the way. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And that's okay
yeah,
too.
for
And
sure.
and time can pass. Yeah, man, I think it's a really, really interesting thing where because it's so important, and the lesson I'm learning right now too, brother, is like geography, right? Like, some of my closest friendships are all over the place, right? Like, it's like they're not in the same location, you know, and
Yeah,
so it's like like I find myself, and like, this is by choice, but it's like I find myself being alone more often than not, which
yeah,
is, I like that, like, I do like my solitude and, like, my alone time to think and, or, play music or, like, to do my thing. But it's like, what is friendship looking like now, like, across time zones, right? Like, like, we're in completely different
yeah,
spots, and we have this thing that brings us together
yeah,
that, it's like we got an appointment every week with each other to, like, to lock in.
yeah,
But and so it's like, this is a really unique situation for me in terms of my friendships. But otherwise, it's like, I try to call people and keep up, but it's, it's like, what does that look like when I don't have roots? And it's like, that's a question for me too. It's like, I want roots as well, I think I want roots. It's like, I'm not quite sure where to plant them yet, but it's like, I do want roots somewhere. Yeah,
yeah,
just because, like, yeah, geography is important, man, and community is important, and it's like, it's hard to build something, when you're here, there, and everywhere. Although that's like kind of like, music is designed for you to, like, play in a bunch of different places all the time. But
mm,
yeah, man, it's a tricky question for me right now. I'm still trying to figure it out.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think like you said, like even on very differing paths, it's like real recognizes real, and we can rest. I believe that we can rest assured in knowing that that will always supersede any of the other considerations, like geography and um or lifestyle, like or whatever we're up to. Like I had and yeah, and recognizing really, yeah, just bringing it back to like non-judgment and not ever thinking that one is better than the other, or that you can't still maintain a deep connection with somebody who's living a very different surface level lifestyle, like not like different on the surface, I mean, level lifestyle than you, because like every human experience here is a part of the mosaic that makes up the whole, and we recognize that we're one being here. Then we can really know that, like, what everyone's doing is super important, like, an important part of the orchestra, like, playing their part. Like, I had this you were mentioning the people who kinda, well, I'll just say it, like, I have this friend who, yeah, like, a different friend, he's got, like, wife and a couple kids, they're a little bit older, and, he would say to me, it's, something like, "Oh, man, like, what you're doing, like, just, like, kinda traveling the world and, like, doing your own thing, no kids." He's like, "Oh, man, that's, like, the real, like, path to freedom, and that's, like, such a great way to, live a spiritual life." And, like, he kinda had this idea, and was like, "Oh, like, you're really doing it." He's like, "Oh, I'm kinda, like, living," essentially kinda like, "I'm kinda living, like, a boring life here. Like, but you're really doing it." And I was like, "Man, no, it's really not that at all." It's kind of like the old like, a lot of the old yogis and mystics, they were in different levels of society and having different experiences completely, like the householder Lahiri Mahasaya. You know, most of the yogis back then would go off into the woods and like live by themselves. But then this guy was like living in a city and had a wife and kids, and he was doing his thing like that. So it's like not like comparing myself to that. I'm just saying like that we can be living interesting and deep and enriching lives no matter what path we take. And just because you know, somebody does like the wife and kids and 9 to 5 route doesn't mean that they can't be having a deep and rich expression of themselves and their life through their life. You know, just like the other friend, like, you know, the case study I was mentioning before. You know, like people can be still doing something really, really cool while on the surface it's more of an ordinary path. And like and for that reason I think is why we can really just trust that those, like, you know, when you recognize the real in that, you know, it's like then they recognize the real in you, and maybe it's a little bit easier to recognize the real in you because it's more outside of the norm. It's breaking the general pattern a little bit more, you know, like traveling all these wacky places. That's not, you know, that's not like the most common path, but that doesn't mean like that what they're doing isn't equally as interesting. They're just doing it in a different way. If someone is, for example, raising children consciously, like that's a crazy adventure. Instead of just following the script of like being triggered into your traumas by children, and then therefore or and then passing them on because of those reactions, and you know, following the script that most people do. Like there are people out there raising kids in like really interesting and conscious ways that are like fostering the healthy nervous systems and growth of these, you know, independent little beings. And that's cool, man. Like, you don't need to be like child free and like living in Central America to be living a cool life. Like, you can be back, like, you know, in the world, but not of it, right? Like, that's one of my favorites, you know, being in the world, but not of it. And within the matrix, but still expressing yourself in a creative way, which is in so doing, helping to dismantle those prisons of thought that we've been shackled in for, you know, untold generations at this point. Yeah, man, it's cool. We just get to the place of recognizing like what serves us and what doesn't. If it's a friendship that like on the surface it looks like it, you know, is ticking all the boxes, but something feels off, it's like, yeah, we gotta we gotta maybe or let that cut it loose and let it drift a little bit. Maybe it comes back with the tide later, um, but maybe not. And like and for those that are really feeling good, even though there's like large distances and time zones between. Sometimes, you know, we know how to put the energy, when to put the energy into to foster the growth of those, because you know, again, just feel it. It's a it's a beautiful thing, and you know, as with everything, and as often repeated here, is a constant process of refinement of understanding that in a more, you know, in a deeper way.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I guess it's just, like I've deepened some friendships here and made some new friends, and like the other night, like I went out to dinner with some people, and you know, just like we're laughing hysterically the whole time, and I was like thinking to myself, I was just like,
Nice.
man, like I haven't laughed that much probably in like a couple years.
Yes. Oh,
You know,
yeah,
like these
that's good.
genuine belly laughs for hours. Just because everyone was,
Nice.
like, on the same frequency and, like, you know, not taking life too seriously and joking around, and, like, you know, it was just a beautiful night, man. And yeah, like, as I'm, you know, in these places alone, or, like, you know, these far off places, it's like, or, you know, where I was the past, like, year and a half, it's like, yeah, I was the Superman in his fortress of solitude, you know? And I just, you know, and it's like, and then it's like, but, like, how nice though it is to, like, when you finally, like, find it in person too, brother, because it's like I know geography, and like everyone's all over the place, and you know, especially like the friendships I've made over the years, it's like I'm not living in any of those places where like my people are, you know, you'd say. But,
Mm,
that's, it's the reason
yeah,
why, like, trips are so important, or, like, reasons to get together, and, excuses to find each other and to make that effort, um, because friendship is just such a beautiful thing, and, it's the spice of life, so it's, like, really trying to, like, recognize that and honor that and reintegrate that back into my life, because I was just like, "Oh, man," like, yeah, like, being nice is great, like, I get a lot out of it, but it's like, you gotta go live too, man, and especially in community with
yeah.
people that you care about.
Dude, yeah, I know. It's such another level to be at. And it's funny that it's like that this is even a conversation, but it's funny 'cau we're so used to, like, the internet now and social media and connecting over devices that we have to be like, "Oh, isn't it so special to hang out in person?" Like, yeah, obviously, but we're
It
just, like,
is, man,
so
yeah, I know it's a
but it's like it
no-brainer, but
is.
it's just like
Yeah, but it's
yeah,
like, here we are going like, "Yeah, man, it is so nice to hang out with people in person." It's like, "Yeah, of course it is." But, like, man, it is, like, um, yeah, just to go like, man, I've always been this way, like, with my friends, if I drop by, it's like and they just got, like, errands to run, or it's like or, call somebody up, it's like, "What are you doing?" Like, "Oh, man, like, I can't hang out, I gotta, like, I gotta run to, like, the store, and I gotta go pick this thing up," and I'm like, "That sounds like a hangout to me, I'm happy to come." I was like, "Oh, really? Okay." Like, "Yeah, let's just go do shit, let's just go, like, let me just come live with your life with you for a day, and we'll hang out and talk." Like, going picking up some stuff at the hardware store is, like, a great opportunity to, like, have some laughs and just, like, connect with a friend, like, go get a smoothie, it's like, I love
yeah.
that shit. It's the
That's my
best.
favorite,
We
dude.
don't
It's really interesting you mentioned that. That's my favorite to do that when I, like, drop into, like, one of my friends' life, again, like, different part of the world, and it's like they're like, "Oh, I'm doing this, this, and this. Is that alright?" I'm like, "Absolutely, let's go do that," Like,
Yeah,
it's a great day.
yeah, yeah. It's funny, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice, and some people will be like, "No, I can't hang out. I gotta, like, do these errands or whatever, run I got some chores." Like, "Let me help you with your chores." Like, rake the leaves up off the yard? Like, sure. It's nice, man, and, yeah, and it's like that simplicity too, I think is something maybe even to just focus on just think about that a little bit more right here because the fact that that is, like, in my experience, a little bit breaking the pattern, like, most people will say like, obviously, I've been traveling for a few years, I haven't really been around that too much of, like, too many situations like that. I remember from the past, like, yeah, text somebody, ring somebody up and say, like, "What are you doing?" And it's like, I'm busy," and I'm not maybe it's like, "I'm busy, I don't wanna hang out," but it's something you can feel that where it's like, "Oh, yeah, I'd love to chill, but, like, I gotta do these errands," and, like, people assume, like, you don't wanna do that shit because it's boring or whatever, and it's like, "No, that's not about that." It's like, we don't need to be, like we don't need to be allowing the programming on, like, these constant dopamine hits to be infiltrating even our friendships, like, we don't need to go do something super entertaining, we don't need to go, like, go-karting and, like like, I don't know, play
No.
some, like we don't need to go, like, playing games and, like, watch movies together, like, we can just do regular shit
Yeah.
and, like, hang out. That's like I'd actually prefer that, like, sure, yeah, I don't know, hit the batting cages after. I'm just thinking all this childhood stuff, but, like, whatever it is, like, that's all good too, go swimming or something, go cliff jumping, but,
Yeah.
like, the regular shit is great too, man. It's like that's life too, like, we gotta do those things, like, why not include our loved ones, our friends in that stuff? Because it's, like, a beautiful opportunity to, like and sometimes, like, the funniest shit, like, I think of, like, having deep belly laughs, just being yeah, again, like, being silly in the hardware store as, like, a grown ass man with my friends, it's like it's like those opportunities to reconnect with the inner child, I think can come in those more, structured environments, at least for me, I guess maybe that's just telling of my deeply immature parts that like to, like, be silly and stuff, but, like, um, yeah, it's good stuff, like, we can and it's like in a world where connection is, like, diminishing, right? Like, real connection as we as everyone always talks about, we're more connected with the internet and everything, and everyone has millions of friends on social media accounts and stuff, but then they don't actually connect with other human beings. It's like we got to do that. We got to, come with me to go pick up some like some gravel for like the drainage project out back. Like, let's go. Like,
Yeah.
I need to pick up, some screws at the hardware store. Like, let's get some groceries. I gotta get some groceries. Like, come along for the ride. Why not?
Yeah, man, I love the inconvenience, right? Like suffering with a friend, like if they got some, like stuff that's not fun, it's like I like that too. Like I think that's
Mm,
an opportunity too, right? Because it's like it's a privilege, good times
yeah.
and like, annoying times or bad times too, right? It's like, because inconvenience, it's like I feel like people pull back as soon as like a friendship might be or like friendship, right? Like if someone's pulling back from you, like if you're going through a hard time, and
Dude. Yeah.
it's like, well, it's you know what I
Fair
mean?
weather
It's like,
friends.
fair weather friends, and so it's like, what really proves a friendship? It's like, whether that's not fair, you know, and, um,
Yeah.
and so it's like, I I recognize this now where it's like, if my friends are going through a hard time and like, an example like addiction or something like addiction to like heavy drugs, that's like different, right? It's like, you can do things when someone's in like the depths of an addiction, but um, truly it has to come from within that person to like, wanna stop doing that or for just as an
Mhm.
example, right? It's like, like hard times as like, end of a relationship or, stuff that's like they still have a hand on the wheel, right? Where I feel like addiction, it's like, life can spiral out. But
Yeah.
not that you shouldn't be there for them either. It's like be there for them, emotionally and, in the fact that like you wouldn't enable
Yeah.
their addiction for them, or lend them money so they go buy drugs
Yeah.
or something. It's like you can still do things to like be there for them as a friend and want them to get better or get help. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
As
man,
much
it's
as you
just
can.
absolutely, absolutely as much as you can. But like it's like when inconvenience comes along in a friendship, I think that's really what defines it, right? And like, it's like what's better than like going through some like awful shit and like laughing about it with a friend. It's like that's the shared experience of the it being ridiculous or tough or annoying or it's like making it a good story. It's like that's that's when and you hear about this all the time, brother, like when people are going through like a divorce or some sort of like crazy life situation, it's like and people drop from their lives, it's like you really find out who your friends are when you're going through some hard shit. um
Exactly. Yeah.
I had an experience like that, where it's just like I really knew who my friends were after a tough situation in my life, like a couple years back, where it's like it's not that again, any animosity towards the people that weren't there, but it's like I really took note of the people that were there for me. You know what I mean? And I was like,
Mm.
that's real, right? Like it's like they were there with me when like things were good, but it's like where I'm going through some shit, they were still there. I was like, that meant so much to me. You know what I mean? And like just really
Yeah.
considered that a friendship of depth, like really profound in my understanding of, what I even think of the word to mean to me, and to be that for them
Yeah.
too. Like if they go through something where it's like, yo, if you ever need help, like call me, it's like,
Yeah.
if you're really going through something, like it's like I'll help, I'll help you.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And like I think it really speaks to the connection that a person has with themselves when they can, dig deep and be able to be available for a friend going through something more difficult. Because recognizing, again, also as we have mentioned many times, our society, our ego-based narcissistic society, which is constantly seeking to move toward pleasure and away from pain, as quickly and as efficiently as possible. That's when the fair weather friends, like, kind of can show their true colors. It's like, hey, I need help moving. I need help like digging, moving a couple yards of gravel into the backyard. It's like, most people will be like, no, I'm not helping this friend do that. And like, uh, and I just, people bailing on plans with friends like all the time. Really like a culture of that, especially where I'm, from, where I lived for several years before traveling. It was just like people always bailing on plans and like recognizing like, what is it to to be a friend, like you know, help people when they're having a hard time, help people when they need some help. Is it that Bill Withers song? Is it Bill Withers Lean on Me? It's like
Yeah.
that's what it's about. Obviously we're not like you be aware of somebody who's leaning on you too much, who's taking advantage. This is where we're always in connection with our intuition and discernment, but like recognizing like if something's unhealthy and unbalanced, that everything has to be give and take. But like if a friend needs a favor, like, and yeah, even better if it's like a nasty, grueling favor, like, some like serious, like hard manual labor, like go help them out. Like you will grow as a person in so many ways and like deepen the bonds of friendship and like in such special ways. Like that was a cool thing about my old job is like it was so readily observable. Like it was palpable when it happened. Like if there were like a couple weeks where nothing really like that exciting happened, it would like, it's like idle hands or the devil's what is it? Idle hands of the devil's playground or something. Um
Playthings or yeah,
like
playground.
people
Yeah.
yeah, play thing. Yeah, it's like um when there's no challenge to be met, especially for men programmed to this like doing mindset. Not that I'm saying that's like the healthiest thing ever, but like that's just kind of as far as I see the case as it stands is like people start to get restless, people start to like pick on each other and bully, and then like what, and then all of a sudden like some like more intense call happens, like a challenging experience comes up in which people have to like band together and work through something together, overcome a challenge, then like, yeah, surprise, surprise, like the morale is lifted. Everyone's happier. Everyone's like a more cohesive unit. And like I can just, I could see that time and time again, and when we go apply that to just regular life, it's like, yeah, like help your friends out when they're going through some shit. Like then they're going to be there for you too, and like you're just you forge a bond that is so much deeper than just like these casual friendships of convenience. Like yeah, like we'll only hang out and
Yeah.
talk about things when it's super chill, and we'll just engage in addictive behaviors together, like going to get coffees or beers or something. It's like that's not really friendship. Like you gotta be there for somebody and then also allow them to be there for you. We just take that conversation a little further with like with men, that's often the case. It's like, I'll do a favor for you, but I won't ask a favor because like I don't want to
Yeah.
I don't feel worth it. It's all that's kind of a whole
Yeah.
other big
Yeah,
conversation.
for my situation, it sucked, dude. Like I was embarrassed. I was, you know what I mean? I was like, because
Mm,
it was like a, pretty big favor. Like I needed a place to stay for a couple weeks, you know what I mean? So like, but a friend of mine, really came through. He was like, yeah, dude, like, like he's like, I got you. So it was like, crash at his house. It's like that's inconvenient for me to be on top of you for 3 weeks.
yeah.
Not on top of you, but you know what I mean? Like just like I'm coming in your home,
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
safe
Energy.
space, but like, yeah, but like but it wasn't like I, stayed there for, half a year or something. Like I was there for like a couple weeks, but without that
Yeah.
help, like I was just like, yeah, I was embarrassed, he knew my situation. And I was just like, oh dude, like I'm really sorry. It's like, no, bro, like it is what it is. Like, and so
Yeah, man.
um
So
yeah,
that's
brother,
the
like
real
it's
that's the yeah. Sorry, I didn't
yeah,
mean to cut you
I
off.
know where that friendship stands. No, 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 that's the end of the thought. But like it's just like 100%, like I know where that friendship stands now. You know what I mean? It was like
Yeah.
good times and bad, like when I really needed it.
Yeah, and for the people that are still opening to that kind of awareness, like to do those big favors, to have your friend, crash on your couch for a couple weeks, while in between getting out of a relationship or whatever, or who needing some like help with a big project that they can't afford to hire, hire somebody for. It's like go do that shit, like because you will look back on that and you will see like for example, I'm sure you had like some serious good times and laughs with your buddy, and like those are things you can look back on years down the road and be like, those are the elements that you look back, those are the instances that you look back on and be like, man, it's those things that now cause me to look at my life and say I've lived like a deep and enriching life. It's not because I like, not necessarily because I took a trip to some crazy part of the world. That's part of it too, obviously, but like also it's like, man, just the everyday stuff, the human connection, that's what we're here to do is like connect with each other because we're all one being and getting to know each other better, like more deeply connecting with other people is how we get to know ourselves better. So like those experiences, like, even say like, somebody's really put out by having their friend crash with them for a couple weeks and they're annoyed and they're just waiting for them to get out of there. And it's like, okay, I bet you at some point years down the road, you're gonna be like, oh shit, man, I remember that time like Steven crashed on my couch for a few weeks. I was annoyed at the time, but like that was a really good time. And I'm like, I'm glad that we did that. I remember some laughs and some funny situations. And I remember that like that pasta that Steven cooked that one night, that was good. I never would have had that if he wasn't staying at my house, you know? Like that kind of shit. It's like that's what life that's like the magic of life. That's like that that as far as I'm concerned is what life's all about, those glimmers, those special little moments.
Yeah, man. I 100% agree. I 100% agree. I, I think that's probably a good place to cap episode 25 of Oneself, man. Any closing thoughts on friendship, brother? Anything you want to add?
Yeah. Yeah, man, just be like I just think for myself, it's like remaining open and like and patient and yeah, really just open to it, but also just always remembering that it's gotta come through like, what's truly best for oneself first. So like not like, oh man, this is kind of inconvenient. That doesn't sound good for me. Like no, like if it really feels bad in the heart, then like then don't keep stringing that friendship along. But if it does, and it's the mind that's going, oh, I don't know if I have time or energy for that. Just consider those in that order. Go heart first, and then look from the mind because, um, yeah, I mean, a pretty like pithy observation here is like our society is becoming more shallow, and like whether or not that's true, whether or not we choose to adhere to that belief and timeline. It's like let's just do everything that we can to make sure that we have depth within our own lives, within our own friendships, relationships, within ourselves. That's all I would say, man.
Folks, if you like what you heard, enjoyed our discussion on friendship, or have thoughts of your own, please comment, engage with us, like, subscribe, do all the things that are free that help us out. We really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll catch you next time. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.